Let's bring in Sean Spicer, Chief Strategist and Communications Director of the Republican National Committee. Good morning, Sean. Good to see you.
Good morning, Christy.
Thank you. So I wanted to ask you first and foremost, coming off of that report, any concern that there could be some hacks within the RNC?
Well, we take every precaution necessary. We're constantly updating our systems. Obviously, this is a great concern, and so we'll continue to monitor the situation. But we have not have anything to report at this time.
All righty. I want to start, if we could, with some things that Donald Trump has said in the last 24 hours, particularly concerning tone and temperament. Let's listen.
I'm taking the gloves off, right? Yes? Take the gloves off. Take the gloves.
I think I have a great temperament. I beat 16 very talented people, and I've never done this before. You don't do that with a bad temperament. I'm leading her in the polls, as you probably have noticed, and I think I have a great temperament. I have a temperament where I know how to win. She doesn't know how to win. She's not a winner. She doesn't know how to win.
Okay, what might have stood out to a lot of people, Sean, is the fact that he said the gloves are off. Haven't the gloves been off? Well, I think we're kind of wondering what that means, because it's already been pretty harsh.
No, I think what that means is we both have gotten past our respective conventions. We're now clearly in the general election phase. Both sides have their respective vice presidential picks named, and we're headed into to the general election ready to go.
So we're not going to see a change in tone from him necessarily.
Well, I don't think that's what he wants. I mean, the reason that he is well is because he is who he is. He's not fake. He tells it like it is. Sometimes it's not as pretty and nuanced as Washington politicians like. But that's, I think, what makes people want to engage with Donald Trump and trust him more than they trust Hillary. Look, just during convention week, his Facebook page reached 175 million people. That was the total reach of his Facebook page. That's just unheard of. There is a desire to be part of this Trump movement that most politicians would kill for. It's authentic. It's real, it's undefined, it's different than anything that's ever had before. And I think what happens is that a lot of folks in the media and a lot of pundits, and frankly a lot of political operatives, want to put this campaign and this cycle in a box based on the last few and say, well, this is how it's supposed to work. This is what you're supposed to say. And Donald Trump defies all that, because I think he's tapping into something that the American people are dying for, which is authenticity and somebody who's not going to be part of the status quo, which is what Hillary Clinton and Tim Kaine represent.
Those are all good points. It's also entertainment for some, so it may be all the people that are flocking to him just want to know what he's saying as well. Maybe they aren't on the Trump train necessarily, but he did tweet. Speaking of tweets, he did tweet about the upcoming presidential debates, and I just wanted to read this to you. He said, as usual, Hillary and the Dems are trying to rig the debates so two are up against major NFL games, same as last time with Bernie. Unacceptable. Here's the thing, Sean. The Commission on Presidential Debates is nonpartisan. It's nonprofit. And if you take a look at their website, they set these dates for the debates back in September of last year. So I'm not quite sure. Help us understand the rhetoric about debates being rigged, because that seems to be what he's intimating.
If you look back, the Annenberg Institute put out an entire critique of the presidential debate. Just because it's bipartisan doesn't mean it's good. I think there's been a tremendous amount of criticism of the way the presidential debate system has worked. I think it does need a lot of revamping. It announced those dates without any consultation of the parties, without any consultation of the candidates.
But there were no nominees. There were no nominees at the time, and it was a year out.
But that doesn't mean that it's fair enough. But my point is that it doesn't mean that it's a good system. I think the idea that these people make all these decisions about campaigns and parties in a vacuum is a problem. And I think, frankly, it's bipartisan. If you ask Democrats, they'll express similar concerns about how this process has worked. That entire system needs to be re-looked at. I think the Annenberg study presents a lot of good reasons why the system is flawed as it stands, and I can understand this. You have just think about it. You announce debates on the night that major NFL games are going with top teams playing off against each other, and you wonder why that people are upset about that. Of course, he's got a good point. This was a dumb idea, and it should be revisited.
Okay. Hillary Clinton's campaign has a pretty tough ad out right now featuring Trump in his own voice. Let's listen together here.
And you can tell them to go themselves.
I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody, and I wouldn't lose any voters, okay? It's like incredible.
Sean, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. You're a dad. There's a certain respect that I think we all want to make sure that we give this office, the commander-in-chief, and we go home and we tell our kids, not to call people names, not to put up with people who do it to us. Is there a part of you that wishes his message was delivered differently?
Well, look, I mean, as a dad, I try to emulate my dad. I think I had the greatest dad growing up and an amazing mother, and that's who I emulate. I think if you want to look at both candidates and say, you know, I could run a series of clips of Hillary Clinton as well and say, do you want to emulate that? Do you want to emulate somebody who took the trust of our country, swore that they would uphold keeping the secret safe, and then put them on a private server to evade detection,
but
and now potentially? I mean, look, no.
But my point, tough, isn't it? Would you sit down with your kids? I want you to be like that? No, but I could also tell you that I could find a dozen, if not, you know, more than that, clips of the DNC saying nasty things about Donald Trump. Christy, I mean, here's the thing, is that it's always about Donald Trump. Let's talk about the Dem convention for a second. Speaker after speaker after speaker were booed. People walked out. They booed a recipient of the Medal of Honor. They booed Leon Panetta. They booed a 4-star general. They booed Hillary Clinton 18 times. I think that the Clinton campaign is doing a sleight of hand here because what they don't want to focus on the deep divisions within the Democratic Party. The fact of the matter is, I vehemently disagree with some of the people on that stage, but they deserve respect. Leon Panetta served this country with distinction. He is a good man. I may disagree with him. Most Republicans disagree with a lot of his policies, but the idea that he stood up there at that convention and was booed down is unbelievable, that we are not talking about the lack of respect and the massive divisions in the Democratic Party when it comes to somebody like that. You may disagree with Leon Panetta. You may disagree with General Allen. You may disagree with the recipient of the Medal of Honor, although I don't know how you do that. But booing them from a convention stage of your own party is unbelievably disrespectful and a massive problem for the Democratic Party. But the Republicans booed Ted Cruz.
Right, but why did they? Hold on. Yeah, they did. You're absolutely right. But they booed Ted Cruz for not standing on that stage and supporting the nominee. Oh, and I'll take that every day of the week. If you show up at the convention and don't support the nominee, yes, you'll be booed. They booed people who were supporting the nominee at their convention. That's vastly different. They had a massive walkout. We didn't. I get it. The only person that got booed at the Republican convention was the one individual who did not stand on that stage and say, too much is at stake, vote for Donald Trump.
I gotcha. Sean Spicer, thank you for taking time for us.
Thank you, Christy.
We appreciate it. Sure. Have a good day.